The server is the first endpoint in a TCP connection. In Node.js, a server is an object that listens for communications on a specified port, and upon receiving a connection request, performs the necessary handshakes to create the sockets required for communications. With regard to servers, there is one important function and one important event that we care about: net.createServer. There is also a corresponding function, net.createConnection, which is used on the client side. Net.createServer will instantiate a TCP server for us. We are not going to use this connection listener callback function in our code, but it's typically added and it will fire every time a client connects, but we have a different way to do it. So neither of these options are required. If you look at my sample code over here, I can create a server without passing either argument. The event that's important to us is going to be the connection event. And this occurs whenever some client connects with our server. Okay, and they will do that using the net.createConnection function. If we look at our client over here, you can see that over here I am using that function net.createConnection that will send a connection request to our server if it's up and running. So when that connection happens, it emits a connection event, which we will be listening for. This is typically what the connection listener is implying, that you give it some callback function to trigger when this connection event occurs. So we're going to look at this code over here on the server side. Okay, so we see that we are listening on port 3000. We create a server, and then for the server, we attach an event listener to the connection event, which will trigger a function connection handler when that event occurs. And all that happens is this function is defined as print out a message new client connected. But we also have this socket object, which we'll use in later examples. And this allows us to facilitate bidirectional communication. So the server also has a listen function, which is used to specify which port, in this case 3000, that our server will listen for communications on. Okay, so on the client side, the client will specify a port to connect with. Okay, that way you can have multiple programs sending communications to the same computers as long as they are using different ports.